Just makes you wonder, where is the president?
Right.
Where is the mayor? Where is the governor? The president made one passing comment in the woods. I condemn anti-Semitic protests. That's why I set up a program. I also condemn that those who don't understand what's going on with the Palestinians. Really? Okay. So where are you now? Has anyone woken up the president? I know it's a bit of a chore, and said you should take a look at what's happening now.
Well, Brian, and to that point,
or the governor?
Remember, the governor is the contingency plan if Joe Biden cannot make it toward the nomination. Where is he? I mean, you have mass chaos. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this on a college campus.
Compare that to Mayor Adams yesterday.
Right.
This is my country. How dare you take my flag down? And by the way, my uncle died for this country, and our youth are being corrupted by outside forces. We should identify this right away. If this is your kid, grab them out of here. That's whatever you think of Mayor Adams. That's somebody without a script.
Brian, he said it's despicable that schools would allow another country's flag to fly in our country. Blame me for being proud to be an American. We're not surrendering our way of life to anyone. That's the mayor of New York City.
And we did just get a statement from a president, not ours, the Israeli president, Isaac Herzog. He said, in part, in the face of violence, harassment, and intimidation, as mass crowds smash windows and barricade doors, as they assault the truth and manipulate history, together we stand strong. Wouldn't that message be nice coming from President Biden?
But the president spoke in Tampa, not a word. He spoke to Speaker Johnson, not a word. He spoke at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, not a word. With a Jewish host named Howard Stern, not a word about anti-Semitism. This is called not a bad decision. A no decision shows you can't do the job. Well, he's not up to this.
Well, Peter Doocy asked about that yesterday in the briefing room and was told that the president would be speaking on it next week. Unfortunately, college campuses are aflame right now. Let's go to Gregg Jarrett, because obviously, as you look at screen left, those are people who are about to be arrested, and then screen right, you can see people who have streamed still remaining inside the encampment. Hey, Greg, it's just a matter of time until these people are taken downtown, they're processed. Next thing you know, they're going to be back on campus.
Yeah, police should be commended for doing a job well done. They're perfectly capable. They're courageous people. But understand that the people who are being arrested will be out on the streets within a couple of hours before the paperwork is even finished. And they will never be prosecuted for the myriad of crimes we've been witnessing: destruction of property, trespass, violating police orders to vacate and disperse. We've seen acts of assault and battery against the police officers, throwing projectiles at them. Yep. And of course, as Professor Hostman noted, he was physically attacked. None of the people who are being arrested will be prosecuted because the citizens of Los Angeles elected George Gascon as the district attorney. He's a far-left progressive who made it abundantly clear the moment he took office that his solution to crime is to open the jailhouse doors, and that's what he did. He refused to prosecute a great many crimes. As a result, in Los Angeles, property crimes and violent crimes have absolutely skyrocketed. You know, this is a public university. I grew up in Los Angeles. I know UCLA quite well. And it's governed by the regents. And the university is supported with taxpayer money. And that money should go away if the regents had a backbone. They would say, clean up your mess. We're firing the administrators. We're firing the sympathetic, emboldening faculty that encouraged students to do this, and in fact some of them participated in it. And the regents have an affirmative duty to the citizens of California to fix this mess.
So, Greg.
And if people in Los Angeles are looking at this riot and the destruction of property and the assaults taking place and wondering who's to blame, they're to blame. They're the ones who put into office a prosecutor who acts as a public defender, who is known among criminals as their BFF.
So Greg, I got to ask you, Sami al-Iran, who pled guilty to conspiracy to provide services to the Palestinian Islamic Jihad back in 26, wife was at the protest here in New York City, according to the Counterterrorism Division.
Columbia.
At Columbia University. His wife was there as one of the leaders and agitators of the movement. So, I mean, this is not rocket science here. A link, her husband was a terrorist, providing information. But the FBI says, Christopher Wray said, they're not monitoring these so-called protests. What are the legal ramifications about that?
Well, you raise an interesting question. You know, this advocacy for Hamas.
Greg, I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.